My mom told me I would be a good real estate agent, and that's kind of what kind of started the ball rolling. I think that my mom saw early on that I had a knack for talking and I had a knack for selling. I have the opportunity to work with entertainers and athletes and CEOs and your everyday buyer and seller. And I really work on moving from realtor to relationship with the people that I do business with. A lot of people think that time is your most valuable asset. That's actually not true. Attention is your most valuable asset. And think about how your client, your family, your loved one feels when you're giving them 100% of your attention. When people don't list their house with me or people don't use me to buy a house, I don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for them.
Well said.
Why would you not work with the Michael Jordan of real estate? Like that makes no sense to me.
Welcome to Rise Above the Ranks. Today, we are joined by everybody's favorite real estate expert, host of Glenda's Guru podcast, right out of Atlanta, Georgia, Glenda Baker. Glenda, how are things in Atlanta today? And thank you so much for joining. We are really excited to have you.
I am so excited to be here, and everything here in Atlanta is going swimmingly. I just got a swimming pool put in my backyard, and I'm happy as a pig in a puddle. I mean, it is literally being filled this very second.
I love it. You must be very excited. How's the weather in Atlanta this time of year?
Oh my gosh, it's humid. It is so humid. No lie, I stripped down to my slip the other day. I had an open house, and it's like 11:30 and it's 86 degrees and like 186% humidity. And I just had to take my clothes off to put my signs and my balloons up. It was crazy. I'm out there in my black slip and I'm thinking to myself, I hope they don't think I'm a streetwalker. I mean, it was crazy.
Did you have a good turnout when you stripped off is what I need to know. How did that go?
Obviously, the demographic for the townhouse I'm selling is like 50 to 60-year-old men. So I have to say it was a good turnout.
We're happy to hear, and we're really happy to have you on today. Welcome. We've been looking forward to sitting and chatting with you for a while. Obviously, I've seen you at multiple events over the years. We want to dive right in. We just want to get to learn more about you. How you started out, what drew you to the real estate industry, and kind of how you got started in this insane world that we live in.
Well, my mom told me I would be a good real estate agent, and that's kind of what kind of started the ball rolling. My first job, I sold ladies' shoes, and I worked Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and I was the shoe sales lady of the year. I sold more shoes part-time than every other full-time person combined. And so I think that my mom saw early on that I had a knack for talking and I had a knack for selling. And so then I designed and manufactured ladies' clothing here in Atlanta, and I didn't really like that industry. They were just so mean and so cutthroat. My mom said, Pumpkin, you need to go be a real estate agent. And so sure enough, I was sitting in the class. I never will forget this as long as I live. I was sitting in the class and they said, so when you sell a house, you get paid. And I raised my hand and I'm like, well, what about like your Friday paycheck? And they're like, this is commission only sales. You only get paid when you sell a house. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like that's not going to work for me. I had this small child. And I tried to be somebody's assistant. And the first ladies, these three militant ladies, they were like, you are too bubbly. We're never hiring you. And then I interviewed with these two other ladies and they're like, we love you, but you're not going to be an assistant for long and we don't want to train our competition. And so I had been reading a book, How to Make a Six-Figure Income in Real Estate. I had reached out to everybody that I knew. I had 5 listings and I went to this real estate office. We called it the Real Estate Taj Mahal because it was so big and all the fancy ladies worked there. And I walked into the broker and I said, look, nobody will hire me as an assistant. I have 5 listings. I need somewhere to put my license. And she was, you're kidding. And I'm like, nope. And so I started September 4th of 1992 and I was agent of the month by December.
Amen. Love that. Good Good for you. What are your thoughts on that, Dave? I mean, not that we did the exact same, but you started right at the bottom and you grinded and you've worked your way to the top, and you kind of did it in the reverse. You got the listings and then you went to the brokerage. It's a pretty good move in my opinion.
You definitely have the personality.
Thank you. I love people, and I'll be honest, like, don't tell anybody, like, I would do this for free.
Yeah.
It's not even like work. I wake up every morning and it's like,
Don't tell
I'm
your clients
excited.
that, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Let's cut that part out. But it's funny because when my son's 23 now, when he was in 4th grade, they asked him, "What does your mom do to work?" And he goes, "My mom doesn't work. She talks on the phone and sells houses to her friends." And that's really what I do still to this day.
I
That's
just
awesome.
love that. And does your 23-year-old now still think you sit on the phone talking to your friends, selling houses to them, or he realizes this is a living?
Do you know what? He has become quite accustomed to the lifestyle that I have been able to provide as a real estate agent.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He has an apartment in my house. So I have a basement apartment in my house, which is right next to the pool. So I don't think I'm getting rid of him anytime soon.
He ain't never leaving. I love that.
How old is he?
He's 23. My daughter is 32 and she works with me, and my son is 23.
Love that.
James, do you see Sophia or Chloe working with us?
It's funny. I always see teams, mother and daughter. I don't think I've seen any father and daughters, but honestly, I would love it if the kids joined our team. And you talk about never losing the kids or your son living in the apartment downstairs. Look, at some point, I want my children to travel and experience the world and enjoy those things. But I think as a parent, you never really want to lose your children. So if you could end up working with them, we definitely kill each other along the way. But I mean, you can't get back those memories. So I would love to work with my kids at some point in the future, for sure.
I was going to say, they say by the way, Glennda, just back to your son, that's a great thing, because they say when you have a son, you lose one person at the dinner table. When you have a daughter, you gain 2 people at the dinner table.
So true.
Yeah. I'm so very blessed. I'm super blessed. My kids, we have a super close relationship. We just got back from the beach. I take a Mother's Day vacation. So I take the week of Mother's Day, and I take my children, my stepchildren, my grandchildren, and it's a come and go as you please, no agenda. We rent a house on the beach with a pool. Beautiful. And play games. So it's so cool.
Love
Beautiful.
that. Love that. Love that. And Glennda, moving to the business side of things, we're always curious to know, like, what are your biggest motivators today when you're out selling? Like, what do you think has been your biggest key to success so far in the real estate career that you've made for yourself?
I would probably say, as the last kid picked on the playground, I barely made it out of high school. I didn't go to college. And when someone is trusting me with what is their single largest asset, it's such an honor to me. And I have the opportunity to work with entertainers and athletes and CEOs and your everyday buyer and seller. Whether it's a $500,000 house or a $5 million house, I work with a lot of different people. And I'm just so honored that they seek out my counsel to help them on their investments and on their primary home. And our logo, our tagline is, "We provide the backdrop, you create the memories." And I really work on moving from realtor to relationship with the people that I do business with. People say, "Glennda, what do you sell? Do you sell vertical? Do you sell, big houses?" I sell houses to people that I like. I don't work with people that are assholes. And so it makes my job so much easier.
100%.
So good. Yeah. And that's probably why you love what you do so much, because now you've crafted a career whereby you can choose who you work with as well. And that kind of keeps it more harmonious to a degree, by the way. This business is never totally harmonious.
We've only ever fired one client to this day. which actually just,
Menachem.
yes, we fired one client in 12 years. And other than that, I have to say, we've had a pretty great run of working with people that we truly do enjoy. And I'll say we're in the one industry, at least the one that I know of, that we get to be around the most incredible people, and we're like sponges. We get to learn from these people. I mean, I know when I'm in showings with entrepreneurs or tech, or it doesn't matter, entertainment, music, I'm always listening for how they negotiate, how they look at things, the way they do it, because we get to learn and be around such amazing people that we want to learn from everyone we're around and take all the little tidbits that we learn along the way. So I think we're really lucky to be in the industry we are and get to work with the amazing people that we do.
So it was only because it was related to your last point, Glenda. So your mum said you would be great in real estate because you're a great salesperson. How did that evolve into obviously your passion for real estate as well as sales? Had you always been interested in real estate, or did it grow?
My mom was always interested in real estate. And so every weekend, we would just drive the streets of Atlanta and just get lost. And we would get lost in the most beautiful neighborhoods with the beautiful flowers and dogwoods and picturesque trees. And I remember, I was raised as by a single mother, and my mom is driving in this beat up Pontiac. I'll never forget it. It didn't have air conditioning. And she worked for this man who lived on the street, Riverside Drive, and it was so beautiful. And we would drive by his house and then come across the river, and we would drive down Columns Drive. And my mom would look up at the houses on this beautiful cliff, and she would say, "One day, Pumpkin, one day we're going to live in a beautiful house like that." And we
Love
would
it.
drive through the neighborhood, and I kept thinking to myself, I think she must be crazy because these are like mansions. And 2 years ago, a house came on the market, and I walked in, and it was that house on the hill. It was my mom's dream home, and I was able
Oh
to
my
buy
God.
it. It
James,
was
Let's
show your
great.
go.
goosebumps now, James.
Let's go. You think I'm joking?
No,
That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, it's
That's
incredible.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I think my mom saw I think she saw in me what she wanted. And I think that she said, "Well, my daughter's good at sales," and maybe always said, "Pumpkin, you need to sell something more expensive than shoes to make money.
Mhm.
Houses would be a great idea." But she always told me, she goes, "You are a star. You are a star." And she would dress me up like a Barbie, and she would say, and I was always overdressed, and she would say, "You are a star. Dress like one, Pumpkin." And I would be like, "Okay." So that's why I wear my stars. I always feel a little bit closer to her. But here in my house, I just feel like she's all around me.
I love
Oh,
that.
it's beautiful. Your mum sounds like a lovely,
Yeah.
lovely lady and clearly raised a wonderful daughter. Hey, everybody. Okay, it's 2024 and your real estate tech needs to keep up. Fortunately for Dave and I, we now get to use and leverage BoomTown Pro, and I think the name really says it all. It empowers professionals like us with this lead gen, smart CRM, automation tools, AI capabilities, and white glove support to stay ahead of the game. To claim $250 in free leads, visit insiderealestate.com/blueprint and use the promo code Blueprint. That's insiderealestate.com/blueprint. So moving on, we want to know everything about Glenda's Guru. So you're the successful real estate agent. You're out doing your thing, and then you move into becoming a content creator. You're hosting your own podcast now, which Glenda's Guru is awesome. But like, how did you come up with that idea to pivot from selling homes to moving more into the space that you're in now?
Well, I started making videos about 3.5 years ago. And being raised as an only child, I would talk to the mirror. And so talking to my phone was almost just like talking to a mirror.
Mm.
And those people on Facebook, I would do Facebook Lives, and they were like my friends. And then I did a little Glenda Live. And then I started this series on TikTok called Sugar and Spice Real Estate Advice. And I was making these videos, and it was really cool. And I love an alliteration like nobody's business. And so I was talking to somebody, a real estate agent that did a lot of direct mail, a lot of farming. And I said to him, I said, Andy, you are a guru. And I said, I'm going to call you Glenda's guru on farming. And so I just thought that, wait a minute, I could talk to people, not just real estate agents, but I could talk to people that were really at the top of their field, having this lane of expertise, this lane of genius. And because I hate a poser like nobody's business. I want the real expert. And so just listening to them and seeing their vision and how they do it, it's tactical, it's practical. And in Glenda's Gurus, you can always take something away that you can apply to your business today. And that's what I think really is the magic of it.
Love that. Love
Really.
that. And do you think it's important for people in our industry to be creating fresh content and putting out the Instagram reels or property tours? How important do you think this content creation is in our day-to-day lives, business today?
Well, at first, I didn't really think too much about it. But as my audience grew on TikTok, it also started to grow on Instagram. And
Mm,
what blew my mind was the people that would reach out to me that did not know me. They didn't know me from Adam's House Cat. And they would reach out to me to help them buy or sell real estate. And I
Wow.
was thinking to myself, this advice that I'm giving, like, it is positioning me as the real estate expert. And someone introduced me and said, please welcome Glenda Baker, the most recognized face and voice in real estate video. And I was like, oh, my stars, really? Um, but it just, I mean, I think it's like my big hair. I think I have an accent. I mean, people tell me I do. I don't really think I do, but I have an accent. And so people recognize my voice. I was at dinner the other night sitting in a restaurant here in Roswell, close to Atlanta, Georgia. And I walked in and I, was talking to the hostess, and this girl flipped around and she's like, oh my gosh, it's you. It's Glenda from TikTok. So it's so cool that people, like, they recognize my voice, they recognize me. And I have helped people buy and sell all over the world. And to me, that's what's really cool, is just my ability to help people and what it's done for them.
How
love
do you
that.
do work-life balance, Glenda? That old chestnut.
Well, you got to keep in mind, for me, it's not like work. And one thing that I think I'm super great at, and my kids think I'm really good at, is being in the moment. When I'm at dinner with my kids, whenever I'm at karate or jujitsu with my grandsons, I do not bring my phone in. I leave my phone in the car, and because it,
Wow.
it is really critical to me
Mhm.
to be present with the people that are closest to me.
Yeah.
And I heard someone say, don't be distracted from something you should be devoted to. And
Mm.
that really is, like, every time in my head, is that, just because I didn't get the inspection amendment over in 3 seconds, is it going to kill somebody to wait 30 minutes or an hour while I finish dinner with my kids? Absolutely not. And if it is, then I'm not the right person for you to work with.
Love that. That's actually so valuable.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I
Well,
should
well
probably introduce you
said.
to that myself, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
this business is hard to have balance. A healthy balance is probably one of the hardest things. I've never sat on a panel and the question hasn't come up, how do you maintain your personal life versus business? And it's something we're forever evolving, trying to get better at and do. But this business is so difficult to try and maintain that in a healthy way. So what was that saying you just said? It was brilliant.
Don't be distracted from something you should be devoted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really apply that in every aspect of my life. When I'm supposed to be working, I'm not playing on my Instagram. I'm not texting my friends. I am working my brains out. I am working diligently. I don't pick up my phone. I don't have it right there next to me, because I want to be able to be 100% efficient, but I also want to be 100% effective.
Hmm.
And you can't be effective if you're distracted,
Mhm.
period.
Mhm.
And so when I'm working, it's all about work. And when I am playing, it is all about play.
I love
Love
that.
that. So go back to the working part, for example, right? Obviously, if you go to jujitsu or, you're spending time with your family, you leave your phone out of it. Okay. So now, as far as the working part goes, are you talking about being on the phone, doing emails, both at the same time, or are you good at actually strategically doing one thing at a time? Like if you're writing an email, you're writing that email, you will not take the phone call and vice versa.
Correct. So if I am on the phone with a client, I am in a relationship. I'm in an appointment with that person.
Mm.
They deserve 100% of my time. I don't take my phone into appointments. The only time I have my phone out is when I'm accessing the lockbox. When we're just looking at the house, I do not have my phone out. I'm in an appointment with those people. When I'm
Wow.
writing an email, I am absolutely focused on that email. That is for a client. I need to have my A game. I am the Michael Jordan of real estate. You don't see Michael Jordan goofing off while he's out there practicing, while he's out there playing, when he's taking those shots. And I
Mhm.
think that the focus and discipline that I have been able to implement in my lifestyle is part of the success factor.
I think
Woo!
I'm personally taking a lot away from this, Glenda.
Oh,
Amen.
good.
Well done and well said. When you're in the room, give somebody your attention, time, and focus. I think, look, we can both say, David and I, we're not good at that. We're permanently thinking about the next thing, or, there's 10 things going on, there's 100 things going on, but how can you do one thing to your full ability if you're thinking about 500 other things? It's humanly impossible. So I think that is the key takeaway here is like when you're in the room, focus, turn your phone down, stop responding to emails, and try. And by the way, it's not easy, but really try and focus your attention to the task that you have at matter.
Thank
Just
you.
link to that, Glenna. Do you have a team? Are you good at delegating?
Interestingly enough, I have an all-female team, but it is me and 3 other agents. I do not have any admin, period. I have a system and process for everything. So whether it is client gifting, sphere of influence, pop buys, anything that we're doing, we have a system and a process, and everybody rolls through it like fine wine. Elizabeth's been with me 22 years, and Vic and Evelyn have been with me 7, and we just sort of a well-oiled machine.
Who does your contracts for you?
So literally, as soon as we get a contract, everything goes in my phone as a calendar reminder. And the other agent, the lender, the attorney, the buyer, the seller all get calendar invites. So what else do you need to worry about? It just has to be uploaded, and that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. I don't
Oh,
need
of
to pay some.
course. You have, sorry to interrupt, you have attorneys there, right? That's,
Oh,
I,
yes.
attorney, it threw me. It's like New York, for example, right? That's what
Yeah.
threw me a bit. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, once I set all of the calendar reminders up and I
Yeah.
upload all of the documents,
Mhm.
I don't need to pay somebody $85,000 a year to set up calendar reminders. And
Wow.
most of the big
Yeah.
shot agents here in Atlanta, they have a contract to closing person. Well, I don't need to pay a contract to closing person because you're paying one. I don't need to
Yeah.
duplicate the work. That's silly. But going back to what we were talking about time, a lot of
Mhm.
people think that time is your most valuable asset. That's
Mhm.
actually not true. Attention is your most valuable asset. And think about how your client, your family, your loved one feels when you're giving them 100% of your attention versus you answering a text message, sending an email, checking your phone. You really can reduce the amount of time by giving somebody quality attention.
Can you remind me of this
100%.
daily, please, Glenda? It's very, it's
No,
like
but
so
it's
true.
listen, it's so freaking true, and we're grateful that you're coming onto the podcast and sharing the wisdom. And that makes me think, who are you listening to? Who do you get your wisdom from? What podcasts do you listen to and love? What books do you read and love? And then
Apart
lastly,
from
who?
apart from the blueprint.
Of course,
Sorry.
of course. And then
Well,
finally, like, who's the favorite guest you've had on your podcast and why? Like, tell us all of that.
Probably my favorite guest, eh, I wouldn't say my favorite guest, but I think that the guest that gave the most valuable and most rewarding, conversation was Kayla Laos.
Mm.
And Kayla is the CEO of Zoodealio, which is an offer platform, and she's a real estate agent in Phoenix. And she is just an amazing, just visionary. I love the way that she kind of thinks through things and also how she articulates them. Her delivery makes you feel like, oh, wait a minute, I can take this away and I can do it myself. And that's huge. I listen to a lot of Trent Shelton. I listen to a
He's
lot of
great.
Ed Milet. And for me, I wake up every single day and I say, my name is Glennda Baker. Amazing things happen to me. My name is Glennda Baker. I'm a woman of action, and my name is Glennda Baker. Everybody's going to know my name. And I say that all throughout the day. To me, if you ask me who do I listen to the most, I listen to myself, because your conversation with yourself is more critical than any other conversation that you have. How you talk to yourself. And I think just making the transition and learning to talk nice to myself and give myself grace really it changed the trajectory of my life.
Is it
And
like
being
if you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? Is that tying
And
into
how
that?
can you be accepting of someone else's love?
Mhm.
To
Yeah.
me, you have to be enthusiastic about your product.
I love
And
that.
for me, I am my product. And I think I honestly, when people don't list their house with me or people don't use me to buy a house, I don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for them.
Well said.
I mean, because, like, why would you not work with the Michael Jordan of real estate? Like that makes no sense to me. And so I just feel so bad when people choose not to work with me. I wish them all the best of luck, but I feel bad for them.
Mm.
And I think that you have to be enthusiastic about yourself. You have to be enthusiastic about your abilities, and you have to be confident. There's a difference between ego and confidence. And I think that the more confident that you are, when you provide clarity and certainty to your clients, they make a lot of money
Mhm.
and they're comfortable to make decisions, and it gives them confidence. So for me, that's what I just always strive to be every single day.
I love that.
Fantastic,
I
Glenda.
love that. Thank you for sharing all of the wisdom. And Ed Milet and Trent Shelton are awesome. Trent Shelton, in particular, is a really I love all his reels. I spoke with him. I don't know where it was, but pre-COVID, I spoke on stage with him at the Real Estate Wealth Expo, and he is just a super cool dude. Really, really like. Was he an ex-football player, or what? What did he do? He did.
He is an ex-football player, but,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, I followed him. I mean, I just followed him like you could not believe. I just soaked up every single word that
Yeah.
that man said.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he was following me on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm like, oh my stars, that cannot be possible. And then when he sent me a message, I was like, oh, it's like that's the thing is like, I mean, I even like with Mauricio, I remember the first time I met him, I'm like, am I like, is this really like my life? I'm sitting here and I've watched you guys on TV and I have such admiration for you and how you do your business. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember when we met at Inman, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I just like some days I just can't even believe I get to be in the rooms that I'm in. I'm so honored and so blessed.
I love it. It's funny. My cousin from London WhatsApped me yesterday asking, how well do I know Mauricio? Because all the girls in his office keep asking about him. Mauricio is a one of one. So that brings me to my next question is like the Trents of the world that are following you and the Mauricios of the world that are coming on your podcast. Like, what is it about the content that you're creating that you think is attracting audiences in? Like, why do you think people resonate with Glenda Baker in the way that they do?
Well, so TikTok reached out to me and they're like, you don't do anything. You don't sing, you don't dance, you don't DIY, you don't cook. We're trying to figure out why a 50-year-old real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia has such a sticky audience. And they studied my account. They couldn't believe it. When people would follow me, they wouldn't unfollow me. And the more I looked at it and the more that I watched my own content, the people that follow me are everyday people. I'm not selling $250 million houses. I'm selling regular houses in Atlanta, Georgia. And I think that people follow me because I'm real, I'm relatable, I'm
Mm.
reliable, I'm relevant, I'm refreshing, and I'm raw. I You're going to get the straight truth from me. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about it. You never ever have to be concerned that I'm bullshitting you. And I think that people appreciate that.
I think so too. Was that all R's? Real, raw, everything you described started with the letter R right there. Do you remember what they all
Yeah.
were? Real,
Well, of
raw.
course I remember.
I hope so. You said
Real,
it about yourself. What is it? Real?
real, relatable, reliable, relevant, raw, and refreshing.
Let's go. Six
Mm.
R's for Glenda Baker.
Yeah.
I agree. By chatting to you right now and hanging out with you, I think we hung out at Inman. I think we did a panel together at Inman, actually, in New York. Like,
We
there is something.
did.
Yes, you're very, very relatable. You're very sweet. You're very charming, but it does definitely come across extremely authentic because it is. And I think, like you said, it doesn't always have to be the $100 million house or the big celebrity. It can just be the relatable story that people can connect to. And I do believe that that is. Very inspiring for others. And also seeing you building your own success, whether it's in real estate or on social media or on your podcast, like watching you build and grow is inspiring as well. So, no doubt you're inspiring others out there that have a mother that's driving them around streets in their local neighborhood and looking at big houses or being told they need to get into real estate. So, keep doing your thing. I want to know what you do outside of real estate. You know, how do you spend your free time? You're not selling real estate. Obviously, you're with your kids and maybe doing away for a week on Mother's Day. But what's Glenda doing outside of this crazy industry that we've signed up for?
So I listen to romance novels. That is my downtime. I love romance novels. I mean, smutty, Harlequin, Fabio romance novels. I mean, that's crazy. That's what I do to kind of unwind. But the majority of my time is spent playing games with my kids. I love music. I love sports. So we go to a lot of live sporting events, a lot of live concerts. But whether it's playing cornhole or pool, with my kids or Uno, I mean, I am a monster at game night.
What's that card game? Cards of Humanity. Do you ever play that,
Another
Glenda?
Oh gosh,
another
not
great
with my
one.
kids, but yes.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been truly, truly lovely chatting with you. I'm
Thank you,
excited to
Glenda.
come and play cornhole with you in Atlanta, Georgia, and probably some seriously competitive Uno games. Before we leave, any parting wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners, Glenda?
I would probably just say that if you're looking to create video content, you're looking to start a podcast, you're looking to, grow, not only your real estate business or your business. For me, I have three things that I focus on, and that is being impactful, inspirational, and informational. And when I do those three things and I leave those kind of at the top, lead with that. Who can I inspire? Who can I impact? And who can I inform? That really is the ticket.
Amazing. Thank you. I
Absolutely
learned a lot from that, Glenda.
brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
David,
as
you
did
probably
I.
didn't have any idea what you were getting into because you haven't met me. You probably were like, "Who is this lady in Atlanta, Georgia?" But I hope that you enjoyed spending some time with me today.
I did. I hardly looked at my phone, which is a huge deal, by the way, because I
I love
genuinely
it.
have been interested in everything you've said, and it's a pleasure to meet you on the podcast. But I look forward to meeting you in person. More importantly, Glenda.
Well, you just be careful what you wish for, because I'm going to be in LA June the 22nd. I'm coming out there
Perfect.
for a wedding, so a wedding on some yacht and stuff. And
Oh,
so
wow.
my son and I are coming out. We're going to go to the Dodger game on the
Oh,
22nd. So I'm
nice.
all excited. But you be careful. I might hunt you down like a hound dog.
Well, I will threaten to take you for lunch.
This is good, and it
Sounds
sounds
good.
like we got a date. Glenda, thank you so much for joining us. It's so lovely to hear you. It's refreshing to hear your story. And one of these days, we're going to come visit you in Atlanta too. Thank you for being a guest on Rise Above the Ranks. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to speaking with you again very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.